Good morning. How are you? This is beautiful Friday morning. Man, it's nice outside this morning. It's not hot. It was actually really nice. So I got to watch all the kids getting on the bus. My little buddy Dean, little bitty guy, all dressed up in orange, going to preschool. Oh my goodness, I had a good morning already. So anyway, I hope you have too. Yeah, I got a mile in. I got a mile in. Got my mile in for the morning. Anyway, I am so excited. I hope I can get all this in 10 minutes or so, 10 or 11 minutes, because I got something I've been thinking about. That's dangerous. I put a link up for a free download to my website. It's a book of poetry that I wrote, but it includes one poem that my grandmother wrote also. It's poems for caregivers, and it's free on my regular Does Fire site. So run over there and grab that free download and share it with somebody. The poems work for other people too. I just wrote them from the perspective of a caregiver. But God's grace is good for everybody if you're a caregiver or not. Right? His mercy is enough whether you're a caregiver or not. His love doesn't change. He doesn't go, you get more because you're a caregiver or you get less because you're a caregiver, right? But so they're written from that perspective, but they're solid for everybody, especially my grandmother's. You got to get that book. Just go download it so you can read all this. Go to the last one if you don't want to read mine and just read grandma's. Right? Anyway, so I am really excited about this devotion because I've been thinking about it since yesterday. So my grandkids went to public school this year, and so one of the deals I want to do for them is pay for their lunches. So I just put money in the account. I put money in the regular food account. I put money in the extra account because some days they take their lunch, but they want that cookie that goes with the other lunch, right? So I didn't want them to feel like they couldn't get that if they wanted it. I'm going somewhere, trust me. So yesterday I was checking the balances to make sure I keep money in there, and I think one day Eli got like a meal and a side and an extra entree, and yesterday all he got was an extra one, two extras. I don't know what those were, if there's a cookie or whatever. And so I had this picture in my mind that he goes through the line, and this is all my imagination, but mine is, it's a big, very active imagination. He goes through the line and he gets there and he says, do I have money on my account? Can I get this cookie? Oh yeah, you got money. Yeah, it'll cover it. Oh yeah, you got it. Okay. So he comes through maybe the next day and he goes, ooh, do I have the money for an extra hot dog? And I'm like, you bet, you got money for that. Let's check. You bet, it's all in the account. So I started thinking about that. And I thought, I don't know that he knows that I'm paying that, right? All he knows is that when he goes through line, he can get what he wants. He can eat what he needs, right, to make it through the rest of the day. The boy's growing. He's eating a lot, by the way. I got to get another job. No, I'm kidding. But well, but anyway, so I'm thinking, in my mind, it's like, do I have enough to cover an extra? Do I have enough to cover this meal? Do I have enough? And I don't know if he asks if he has enough. I don't know if he checks it, but he goes through that line and I keep that money. He has no idea I'm working here to put money in that account so that when he goes through that line, I hope you see where I'm going now. He goes through that line, he can get whatever he wants or needs as far as food goes. And I started thinking about that and I was like, to him, it seems like just an endless supply. He just goes through every day going, I can get this? Really? I can get this? I can get this too? Can I have an extra milk? Can I have an extra cookie? Can I have, yeah, oh yeah. And they're going to say, yeah, because they're chinking that, counting that change or those dollar bills. And that's fine. And so I started thinking and I was like, isn't that how we are with God's peace? We could start with peace because this is peace out. That's our focus, is that he is our peace. That's the main purpose behind this devotional, is to remind us all, myself included, that we have his peace, and his peace is, there's an endless supply of his peace. We may not quite comprehend exactly how it got there. Matter of fact, it says he'll give us a peace that we can't comprehend, that will guard our hearts and minds when we give him all our anxious thoughts and turn everything into prayer, right? When we give him everything in prayer, we have an endless supply of peace. But we also have an endless supply of grace. We have an endless supply of mercy. There's an endless supply of love. And we just go through the line and tell him what we need, and it's covered. Isn't that an amazing thing about God? So I was thinking about all this. I was kind of chuckling to myself because thinking about how he just like I got this, and it's covered, it's covered. And that when we go to God and go, man, I got this situation, God, I need some grace. He's like, it's covered. It's I already took care of the account. I already put it all in there. I already put all the peace in there you're ever gonna need. I put all the grace in there you're ever gonna need. I put all the mercy you're ever gonna need in the account. We've got it all at our disposal for whatever we need or desire in that moment. And so this morning, as I was thinking, rolling all that around in my head, I've had a fun thinking about all that since yesterday, as I was checking the account yesterday, and I thought of the scripture because I was thinking. I know got two scriptures going through my mind at one time. Hold on. The first thing I just thought of was when God provided a ram in the thicket, so that Abraham didn't have to sacrifice Isaac, and he said, "Jehovah Jireh, my provider," and that is provider. Jireh means the many-breasted one, not to be crude, but that's what it means, and it means there's enough. There's enough to go around. The God who is enough to supply all my needs, right? And so, but what I studied and looked at was in 2 Corinthians 12, 9, and I used my little handy dandy concordance, Strong's Concordance here to look up, my grace is sufficient. What does sufficient mean? Does it just mean enough to eke you by? Does he have just enough grace that, oh, we're going to make today, but boy, it better hit midnight pretty fast so we can get into tomorrow's supply? No, sufficient actually means to remove a barrier. Now think about that. It seems disconnected. On one hand, it seems a little disconnected. Remove a barrier. It also means enough. And I'm like, remove a barrier. Does that even fit? And then I thought, it does fit. He removes the barrier so that we have all of his peace. He removes the barrier. It's not just enough to get by. It's all of our peace. There's no limit. I could put it that way. The way I wrote it was an endless supply of his peace, an endless supply of his grace, an endless supply of his mercy. Does that not just blow your mind? That he made sure we had all of the things we need just for life and godliness, it said, through our knowledge of him, of course, right? So we have an endless supply of peace. So when we're going through the line of life going, do I have enough for this situation? God goes, oh yeah, it's covered. Let me check the account. Oh yeah, it's covered. Do I have enough grace for this situation? Maybe it's a relationship that went haywire. Maybe it's a financial struggle that came up all of a sudden, or something you're trying to work through, trying to get out of debt or something. Is there enough grace and peace and mercy for that? And God goes, oh, let me check the account. Oh yeah, it's all good. It's covered. It's covered. And you may not see where it's coming from. Like Eli probably has no clue. He just knows I can eat, right? He doesn't know where it's coming from. He doesn't see it going into his account. He doesn't have his own cell phone where he can check. He wouldn't be allowed to, but to check the account and see if he could go in. Do I have it? He doesn't have to go check that account every day. He just has to go through the line and say, can I get this? Can I get that? It's covered. There's an endless supply from his perspective. There's an endless supply, and that's the way it is with God's grace, with his mercy, with his love, with his peace. As we go through this line of life, whatever we come up to, we got enough. There's no barrier. That we're not going to come up to a wall and go, oh man, that piece, it just 10 minutes ago, that was the last bit. I don't know what you're going to do today, right? It'll be back. It'll refill. No, we don't come up to, there's no barrier to his grace. There's no barrier. We don't run out of mercy. Thank God. Because if anybody's going to do it, it would be me, right? We don't run out of his mercy. We don't get out from out from his love. There's no way. We look at Romans 8 and it says nothing can separate us. There are no barriers that keep us from his love. There's nothing, not even death. And that's our biggest thing, right? Not even death can keep us from his love. Nothing in the heavens, nothing in the earth, tribulation, persecution, struggles, whether we have money or we don't have money, irrelevant. No barriers to his love. No matter what color our skin is, no matter what religious affiliation we go with. This ain't in King James, of course. No matter what political affiliation we have, no matter what we do for an occupation, nothing. There's no barrier to his love. Nothing can keep his love from getting to you. Now you have that choice of accepting it or not. Think of this scenario real quick. I'll try to get off of here. What if Eli goes through the line and says, Oh, I better not get that. I don't know if there's enough in the account to cover it. There's enough in the account. Gigi's going to make sure there's enough in the account to cover whatever he wants, right? But what if he goes through the line and goes, I don't know if there's enough to cover that? He doesn't get something he wanted or needed because he didn't know. There's no barrier. Right. Well, I got limitations. I ain't gonna put that much in there. But he did. What if he didn't get something just because he wasn't sure if there was enough to cover it? When I'm making sure there's enough there to cover it. Now I am not comparing myself to God. Trust me, that ain't gonna happen, right? But if we look at it from I'm drawing a parallel, a parable, an allegory, however you want to say it, an analogy, right? He goes through the line, he doesn't get something because he thinks there might not be enough money there to cover it when it's all right there. How many times do we go through circumstances and we don't call out for God's peace, grace, mercy, count on his love because we're not sure he can cover this situation? I'm not sure he can cover my son being injured seriously in a car accident. I'm not sure he can cover I just saw this morning a friend of mine had a friend who passed from cancer this week, and they've been friends for years. God's grace is enough to cover that. God's grace is enough to carry her through that. The loss of a parent, we're coming up next week. We'll have gone a whole year without losing any family members. That's wonderful. A whole year. Wow. So, and we lost three family members like just within a year. We lost three. But God's grace is enough to take us through that, right? God's grace is enough for whatever we face. We don't have to worry. We don't have to say, well, I'm not going to ask him for grace today because it might run out. It's not going to run out. There are no barriers. The barriers are removed. And there's enough. There's plenty. There's an endless supply. Don't cut God short like that, right? Does that not just blow your mind to know that you can go through the line of life and no matter what you face, no matter what gets put on your plate, there is grace to cover it. There is mercy to carry you through. His mercies are new every morning. It's never morning there. It's always day. That's for us, right? There's no end to his peace. It's not going to run out today at noon. It's not going to run. You're not going to run into a situation and God go, I'm not covering that. I don't know. Oh, I don't know about. I don't know. No, there's no expiration date. It's not. Oh, you got till noon to enjoy God's peace, and then that's it. There's an endless supply. Does that just think about that today? I'm still thinking about it. I've been thinking about it since yesterday afternoon. I've just been rolling it over in my mind and just thinking that it's an endless supply. God's got it covered. When Jesus went to the cross, it paid for everything. Everything. For always. Even for today. Peace out. Enjoy your day. I'll see you in the morning.